4, 3, 2, 1.
So, noting the time and the presence of a quorum, I bring the Boxborough Finance Committee meeting to order. We're partly remote tonight, so we'll do a roll call attendance. So everyone should say their name and presence. So we'll start with Kashava. Can you hear me? Kashava, can you hear me?
I'm guessing he can't.
Kashava, can you hear me? Kashava?
Ask Michelle if she can hear you.
Michelle, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, can you say your name and presence? We'll get back to Kashava.
Sure, Michelle Ryan, present.
Okay, John Grieven.
John Graven, present.
Joe.
Joe Stelban, present.
Maria.
Brian Nealon, present.
John.
John Connor, present.
And Tony Newton, present. Kashava, can you hear me yet? Oh, he's gone off. No, he hasn't. Kashava, I'm not hearing your audio, if you can hear me. I don't think he's on audio because he's not even muted.
Yeah, no, he's not muted.
Yes, we haven't joined audio.
Maybe he didn't do an audio.
Is there a waiting room?
There is people popping up and I'm just letting them in. Mike's had his hand up. Hold on.
Mike, do you have a question?
There you go. Hey, Mike.
Mike,
I just wanted you to know that people couldn't unmute themselves, so I could. Maybe Kashava can now also.
He's unmuted.
Okay.
But you can hear us, right? Obviously.
Yes.
I'm not sure
Okay,
if
and
Kashava
Liz
can
can
hear
hear
us because
Yeah.
he's not even reacting. Maybe we just leave it for now.
Okay. There's no way to communicate with him. I don't have a cell phone number.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay, Susan's going to text him. So
Yeah.
we can start.
Okay.
Deal with it.
Okay, so I'm also noting here we have Alec Wade. Thank you for coming to answer the questions we might have on the warrant. We have Honghwa Lee. We have Mike Johns online. And we have Susan back from the Boxborough News. So first thing is the minutes of August 19th. Are there any comments on the minutes?
No. Move to approve?
Second.
Okay, a motion to approve and to second.
Who moved? Joe?
Joe.
And second?
Seconded
Me.
Maria, and we have to do a roll call vote. So Michelle, are you yes on the
Yeah.
minutes? Yes. Kashava, can you hear me yet? No. Okay. John,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Maria,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Tony, aye. Okay.
He's reading his phone.
Okay, citizens' concerns. So I've got one item of citizens' concern that came up from a well-known local realtor who noted that when she sold a house recently, the owners of the house had realised that they hadn't paid their taxes from a year plus ago. And they received no reminder, and they were actually sort of quite horrified that they owed taxes. So they obviously had to pay them when they closed on the house. And the question I had for that is, what is the system of reminders that go out to people who haven't paid their taxes deliberately or inadvertently? I mean, is there a process that takes place, after a month, after 2 months, after 3 months, or whatever, to actually remind people? Because there may be, if that's not happening, there may be people who...
Oh,
I'm having problems with my computer.
Oh, okay.
wait, tell him he's...
The sound isn't working.
I can hear you now, Kashava. We can hear you now.
Don't hang up, Susan, though, because he can't hear us.
Can you hear us, Kashava?
Hello?
Can you hear
The
us?
sound on my computer somehow went away for a couple, and I can't seem to figure out how to get it going.
Does he have the volume on his computer turned all the way down?
That's
I
probably
don't
what
know.
it is.
There's no way to communicate with him because...
Okay, because all the volumes up here are fine.
Yeah.
Kashava, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
But we can hear you.
On the phone I can hear you,
On the phone.
but I can't hear you otherwise.
So would that be computer
Okay.
volume?
So,
Okay.
Try turning the volume on your computer.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to work.
Okay.
is your phone still on?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, good. So I can use my phone.
Okay, so you can hear us. Okay, so you're doing the Zoom through the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine then. If
I
you're
can
okay with
see on
that.
the phone,
Yeah.
and I can see you on my computer.
Okay. So can you just say present to start with, so we know you're here?
Okay.
Yeah. So we needed you to say, you know, your name and present just for the minutes, Kashava. Can you state that you're present? Kashava, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just need you to state that your name and that you're present, just for the minutes.
Yeah.
I think we'll count that as present. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you, Kachava. Okay, so getting back to the topic in hand. So this is something I did flag with Mike, and I think Mike was going to talk to Naomi about this. So Mike, do you have any comments on my citizens' concern issue that we had talked about? Mike?
See,
Mike.
hold on. Can you make Mike a co-host, please?
Yep.
Thank you.
So he's,
There you
okay,
go.
yeah.
You're a co-host now. You should be good.
Okay, great, thank you. Yes, so Naomi and Hangwa and I discussed this, and it appeared that the house that was sold, it was almost a year behind in taxes. All those taxes were collected. It appears during the closing, it was all paid to the town. I don't have any proof that there were notifications sent. So I'm not sure what the default was there, but Hangwa has reports of the last 2 fiscal years of all taxes that have not been paid and the number of households that represents. And but we also discussed a process of when the first demand notice goes out and how often those go out and how we go about collecting anything that's overdue and then going into tax title. And that's something that we're going to pursue aggressively and report to you the exact process at your next meeting.
Okay, that sounds great, because that was my concern. There was no process in place.
Right, yeah. Mike, can you confirm that the house we were talking about was on the list of the houses that did not pay or the uncollected taxes for the last 2 years?
Well, I cannot, because the list was just printed today, so that when it's shown is all paid up. I didn't have something from a month or a couple of months ago.
Yeah, what I'm trying to prove or confirm is that our superset of homes that go to our tax processor really equals the superset of homes, right? You know what I mean? Basically, we're sending the complete list to the tax processor or whatever system we have that finally sends out those envelopes.
I know what you're asking. I'll have to confirm that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay, I think so. That's to come, I think, John. I think so. What we expect to get at the next meeting would be someone outline the process, what happens after what time period, who does that, because my concern was that it appears these people never got a reminder.
So
Right.
I will say, before Mike, the previous, and long before our tax collector that we have now, there was one set of payments. Now, mine still gets collected through the bank.
Right.
One set of payments that was never processed. So a bunch of us got a bill in January that said we owed taxes past due. And I'm like, well, that's impossible. I paid, and then I called the bank, and the bank's like, nope, they took my money. And it was in some kind of thing, you know, like kind of in purgatory there. It wasn't here, it wasn't there. It was in the processor. But no, they did not send demand notes out. So
No.
that was my question then. I just don't think that there is anything. previously that was set up for real estate taxes. Because if you're delinquent on your car, you get an immediate, a
Yeah.
month later, you get a demand notice. But I don't think even since then, there's been anything for home taxes.
No, I don't,
Real estate
you know,
taxes.
I mean, I pay mine direct, and
Right.
I'm always having to sort of, I must remember to pay it, because I'm
Right.
sort of, you know, there's no mechanism for me to actually remember unless I
Right.
think about it.
Right, because you only get the bill twice a year now. We used to get
Yeah,
it 4 times a year.
exactly, yeah,
So that
yeah.
was, and it was, you know, all of a sudden there's a past due amount in January, but when I
Yeah.
came to talk to the tax assessor, there were 4 people in front of me who were like, my bank collects my money, and they sent the money,
Yeah.
and it turned out that it was an
Right.
interface
That may be a
processing
different issue, though, but this-
That's a
this-
different issue, but
yeah.
the point is, there was nothing sent to me that said your taxes have been paid. Right?
Right, yeah,
I was behind a quarter,
Yeah.
and there was no demand notice, no past due notice, nothing.
So we'll leave it to Mike to get back
Yeah.
to us with a detailed process of what actually is supposed to happen
Okay.
on that. Okay, any other questions on that? No. Okay, so next topic is the draft town meeting warrant, which we're going to vote on, and we can get any questions answered by Alec. So let's just go through this, I guess, one at a time. So Article 1 is the amendment to change the public service uses in town. Does anyone have any questions for Alec?
For Alec, no.
Or for any discussion on this?
So this came up in our capital meeting last night, and Maria, don't take this the wrong way. But is this in our domain?
Well, the finance committee has to vote on all of these.
We have to vote on it.
Yes, it's in our bylaw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why
I know
did
I
you
asked
say,
that
Maria,
every
don't
summer.
take this the wrong way?
Well, no, I just, you know why.
I actually don't know why. I'm a little confused.
Okay, if we have to vote on it.
We have to vote, the finance committee, as part of our bylaws, has to make a recommendation on all articles in the warrant. That is part of our
Okay.
purview, even if it doesn't have financial implications.
So be it.
Okay.
So
Ask again in 6 months.
So the first thing let's vote on this then. Is there a motion to, you have to do a motion, right? And
Yep.
is there a motion to approve this
To
warrant article?
recommend this.
To recommend this.
So I'll move to recommend Article 1, Public Safety Zoning.
Okay, so a second. Second. Okay. Is there any discussion about whether or not we should recommend this? Okay. So in that case then, let's take a vote. So, Keshava, can you hear me? Keshava.
Hello?
Yeah. Are you a yes or no on this article?
Yes.
You're a yes, okay. Michelle,
Yes.
John Greben,
Yes.
Joe Stogwin,
Yes.
Maria,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Tony, yes. Okay, so we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. 7-0, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So now do you want to hear the recommendation?
Oh, yes.
That I've
please.
written?
Yes, please, yeah.
Okay, based on, and I wrote these based on what we had kind of talked about since the meeting that we took. A yes vote for this article will allow the greatest flexibility for the town to build the most efficient and cost-effective public safety buildings. It should be noted that approval of this article does not mean automatic approval of a public safety building anywhere in town. The residents will have multiple opportunities to vote for any public safety projects through town meeting votes, potential ballot questions for debt exclusion, and in addition, all projects must go through a rigorous site plan approval by the planning board. We good with that?
Yeah. Any questions, comments? No?
Nope, you hit all the points.
Sounds good.
Good, great. Okay.
Thanks, Maria.
Article 2, changing the dimensional schedule of the town of Boxford zoning bylaw. So this is allowing buildings to be bigger than they currently are, right?
With this, so within the town center,
Yeah.
with a special permit, correct, Alec?
Yes, so the current threshold is anything greater than 8,000 square feet requires a special permit. Nothing can be greater than 15,000 square feet as an individual structure. This would allow up to 25,000 square feet, but only for public safety buildings.
Okay. So let's vote on this one. Is this a Someone to make the motion?
Move to recommend Article 2.
Okay, and
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, Kashava. Kashava? Michelle?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Maria?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Tony? Yes. Kashava, any vote on this? No, okay. So we'll call that 6-0-0.
Yeah. And the recommendation I wrote on that is simply the Finance Committee unanimously recommends.
Okay. Article 3, sense of the meeting. We discussed this last time, I think.
The wording changed a little bit, not much. It was cleaned up a little bit from the last time.
Okay.
But the sense of it is, the sense of it, the
Yeah.
gist of it is all the same.
Yeah, we want to know the town's thoughts about whether that makes sense to pay more money to build a house that's not a Stowe Road,
Right,
basically.
right. And on, full disclosure, last night at the select board meeting, there was a lot of discussion as to whether or not they should even have this, we should even have this, sense of the meeting. Because there's a concern that it ties us into one way or the other. But I think the argument that the Fire Station Building Committee has made is if we pass Article 1, but then, you know, we do have two options, but one option is $6 million more. But, you know, people don't want it at 72 Stowe Road. We need to know what the town wants. We're just guessing as to what to bring forward for design and that type of thing, so.
Well, supposing there was an option which was not $4 to $6 million more, that's not at Stowe Road.
And it worked, yeah.
Yeah.
But, so it's not at a Stowe Road or some X location. It's
Yeah.
just that right now, all the properties we've looked at are between
Right.
$4 and $6 million more if it's not on Stowe Road.
So it doesn't block us out from another option which may be
No, so a piece of
no
property.
more than Stowe Road, say.
Right, exactly.
How many properties fit in the 4 to 6 bucket? 4 to 6 more.
So 502, but the problem with that is it's not a good building, right? So there's a concern around the effectiveness and efficiency of the building there, the programming. And we continue to look at another piece of property. And actually two other pieces of property. One would be the Lions property over here, the town center property. That's why that would matter, because it would need to be the Lions property plus the property next door, and that's still on as a viable option, and so we're still working through that. Hopefully have more information Thursday night. And then 1300 would be the other piece of property. Both of those that's where you get the 4 to 6 million, because of the, you know, that's the range,
Okay.
so.
And
Okay.
so endorsing this from a financial perspective, this is for, I guess I'm just trying to understand what a FinCom recommendation, does it mean?
If we said
like
yes, it would mean we're okay with spending $4 to $6 million more for a project that was not at Stowe Road, because
Okay.
for other reasons it'd be, you know, be more than that. So when we discussed it last time, we decided we could not do that.
Right, we actually took a vote on this
Yeah.
last time
Yeah.
and voted that way, but I think we should take the vote again because this is a little bit different
Sure.
language. So
Yeah.
I think one way or the other, we should vote again. And I will say, I only wrote one recommendation but we can change that
Yeah, I
today.
mean,
We
if you
could
have
do it in
different views,
real
it
time.
might
if
be
we
nice
have
to
to.
we have to write a different recommendation.
Right.
Mike
So-
John's had his hand raised.
Oh,
So,
Mike. Mike's got his hand raised.
Mike, do you have a question or comment?
I just wanted to add one thing. At their last meeting, the Fire Station Building Committee decided to change the top number there from the 4 to 6 million to up to 2 million. Up to 6 million. And that change just didn't make it into this. So that should say, sense of the meeting to pay up to $6 million more. And then the same would be reflected down in the lower part, in the Fire Station Building Committee recommendation.
Okay.
Is that the way you recall that, Maria?
I don't recall that, but I knew there was a change in the language. I just didn't remember that it was up to versus 4 to 6. So I defer to you on that.
Yeah, and that's just the one change that didn't make it into this.
Okay.
Okay, so we can take a motion on this.
Actually, just one quick
Okay.
question. I'm sorry, this is minutia, a little bit minutia, but Mike, why does it say majority vote required non-binding? I know it's non-binding, but why would you even say majority vote required? It's just to
Mike,
get a
we
sense.
do that for everything.
That's not a reason.
Well, because if it's bonding, then it's 2/3. So to let the public know, it's a majority vote versus a 2/3 vote.
It's not, it's a sense of the meeting vote. It's not a majority, we're not doing it, we're taking a flavor of the town. That's why we're doing
I
this.
guess that's
Maria,
true.
you're just saying it's like a
But you-
typical vote subcategory type thing, but since this is non-binding.
Right, so I
it's-
guess you're right, you don't really
You
need
still, want,
that.
you still want a yes no though, right? I mean, you might know it might be a yes no narrowly one way or the other, but it's still a yes no at the end of the day.
Okay.
First is, I think it's in there to say it's a majority versus 2/3 vote, because within the warrant, not this particular warrant, we have stuff that's bonded and other things like bonding, planning board, zoning stuff that is a 2/3 vote. So that's just sort of this is a majority versus 2/3. I think you're right, and technically it doesn't really matter, it's a sense of the meeting, but I agree with you, it's a yes, no vote.
Yeah.
You want, you know.
Wes, you have your hand raised, I think.
hold on,
Wes
he needs
Folks.
to be unmuted.
Do you want to meet him?
Yeah, he's unmuted.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to make a point of order that the last article that you guys voted to recommend, there's been no public hearing yet conducted. And I just didn't know if you guys were aware of that you guys were recommending an article where there's been no public input in regards to it before recommending it.
So this is on the
Article 2.
There has been no public hearing?
No,
No.
the article was discussed throughout the public hearing for Article 1, but because of the scope that was written in the public hearing notice, we have to hold a separate public hearing for it. So while it's been discussed openly, the planning board has not completed the public hearing process.
Okay, sorry, because I knew it was discussed, so to me, it was discussed during that public hearing, so.
How does it impact our voting situation then?
So effectively, so your recommendation, if you choose to proceed with it, will be printed in the warrant one way or the other. If there were any changes made during the public hearing process, we would be notifying any of the boards that are listed under that description, regardless of whether they voted or not. We would explicitly spell out any of those changes. As Dennis clarified, because it's being printed in the warrant, the planning board really should stick to the four corners, so to speak, of what's written. But say, for example, they modified that number from 25,000 to another number, we would explicitly notify you, the select board, anyone else that's listed under there, and you would have the opportunity to revote your recommendation if you felt it necessary.
Yeah, okay. We can just do it live at the meeting, right, presumably, yeah. Okay.
So you're comfortable leaving our vote going to print rather than withdrawing and doing deferring to the
Deferring it.
meeting?
I think we can still print it, I think, with our vote, because, I mean, it may not change, right? I mean,
And they discussed it, there was a lot of discussion around that, right, Alec, with respect to
Yeah.
Article 1 and not Article 1, but the two zoning, Article 1 and Article 2 was sort of in the same, I wouldn't expect big changes through a public meeting
I believe
process.
we have the right to change our vote on any of these before town meeting.
That is true, we
Or at
can.
town meeting, so if we decide, we just change our mind.
When does the article need to be finalized?
Like tonight, I need to have this to Kelly tomorrow morning.
Oh, I mean, like, also, like, if there has been a public hearing or anything like that, like, if there was going to be a change, when does that due tonight?
No, so if we were to, regarding the language itself of the warrant?
Yes, in the warrant.
No, so we can make tweaks, revisions, changes up until town meeting floor. We can even make them on town meeting floor
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
amendment,
right,
but
right.
we are going to communicate in advance with Dennis should any change come up, and then work with legal counsel to ensure the appropriate language is placed in the warrant and made available publicly at the town meeting itself.
So then at that point, we could change our position.
We can change our vote on town
Exactly.
meting floor.
So I think
yeah.
we're fine right here.
Okay.
Yeah, we're fine.
So Wes has his
Yeah.
hand up again.
So we still need to make a motion and a second for this one, I think.
Wes has got his hand up again.
Oh, Wes, do you have a question, comment? Wes?
Sorry, I preemptively remuted, but I just wanted to opine that I want to make sure that the FinCom is not seen as ignoring public input, because the select board yesterday took the stance to we will make no recommendation. We are deferring to town meeting as the public hearing has not been had yet. and so you don't get the public input. And so I don't, like, it's not me, it's you guys, but I just don't want you guys to be seen as having your own way or making your predetermined decision about an article before it's been publicly debated through the proper, sorry, there's a bug that just flew in front of me. But properly debated before public input is heard and giving the appearance that it's predetermined that you are in favor. Whether or not your reason is just for public debate or whatever, I do believe, at least in my own personal opinion, that it is better to defer because they have not had a public hearing. But it is up to your board, and I will not interfere in that manner, should you choose to still recommend.
In my opinion, we just carry on. I think we voted it, we'll just do it.
That's fine.
Yeah, I understand the niceties of that, but I think we're sort of splitting hairs a little bit here, I think.
That's fine.
Yeah, thank you, Wes. Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, so we need a motion for Article 3 in a second. So we can just make a motion even if we're going to vote against it,
Okay,
right?
so this is, yes. Right, so it's still a motion to recommend.
Yeah.
And then we vote for it or against it.
Yeah,
So I'll move that we recommend Article 3.
Seconded.
okay. So, to vote then, so if we vote yes, it means that we will, we're okay to pay up to $6 million more.
Yeah.
If we vote no, we're not okay to do that. Kashaba, are you online now? Yeah. Michelle?
Yes, I'm here, and I'm voting no.
You're no. Okay, John Grieven.
No.
Joe?
No.
No.
Maria, no. John?
No.
And Tony Newton, no. So
Okay.
we are 0-6.
Yep. And the recommendation is the Finance Committee unanimously voted against recommending this proposed fire station. That's not what I meant to write. Stand by. The committee, okay, unanimously recommend against this article. The committee concluded spending an additional $6 million on a Mass Ave location is not fiscally responsible if an efficient and cost-effective fire station can be built somewhere else, such as Stowe Road. Now, I put that in there because I want transparency. Like, I don't want people to think we're hiding behind this somehow, but I can change that if you guys aren't comfortable with it.
I think it's good,
Okay,
personally.
you good with that?
Okay.
So it's like we're not pushing Stowe Road.
We're not
for
pushing
something.
Stowe
It's not
Road.
about Stowe Road, it's about not
Yeah.
spending more when there's a viable option regardless. of-
Anywhere,
Yeah.
wherever it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. I just want to make sure that, because the Fire Station Building Committee was accused initially of, like, you're trying to hide that it's about Stowe Road. It's in there, so we should just talk to it, so, okay.
Okay. So Article 4 is about about the additional cost for.
Tony, can I ask a question? I'm
Yeah, go
sorry.
ahead. Yeah.
In terms of the minutes, do you want these recommendations in the minutes? Because I can't capture it that fast.
I can just send it
Just
to
send,
you.
yeah, we can.
I'll send it to you.
I think so. Yeah, I think we ought to. I think we ought to minute
Agree,
them.
you send them to me?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
when, I'm gonna clean them up and I'm with the votes and I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I'll copy you when I copy Ann Susan, when I send it to Kelly, either tonight or tomorrow
Yeah,
morning by
like,
noon.
mine the same thing. I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you.
Okay, Article 4.
So Article 4 was we discussed last time also. This is about spending about $1 million extra to make a green building. And the discussion last time was about, well, what does it actually save us in terms of finances if we do that? And what are the implications of that? So I don't know, is there more information here that we were looking for?
So we were looking for return on investment. And we're not gonna get that. So the number's been lowered.
We're not going to
from-
get the information.
We're not gonna get the information.
Okay.
And the
Yeah.
reason we're not, yes.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was the $1 million of the information.
No, so
thank you.
it was lowered from 2 million down to 1 million, and Mike, step in if I say this wrong. Kate Davies came to the Fire Station Building Committee meeting. The problem with trying to get the return on investment is you really need to have a design, right? Because we don't know how many geothermal wells we're gonna, and that's the big bulk of it. If you scroll up to, this is the basic, so you've got the, you've got, down, I'm sorry, down. Okay, so you got the basic, which is gonna be part of our building code, so the basic's gonna be included. And then it's the second set of bullets that will cost the additional, we're assuming about $1 million, and that's from the engineers. And the geothermal is the most expensive portion of that. And you can't figure that all out until it gets designed. So there will be initially no return on investment. That said, well, I'll let everyone else say before I give you my opinion. So we're not going to get that. So we're voting on whether or not we think $1 million for these green infrastructure components makes sense.
So, question and maybe a follow-up. This is a sense of the meeting question.
Yep.
We don't have enough information right now. This would, once we have a design, ideally come back with that return on investment for us to understand fiscally.
That would be at the final design stage, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It gives some steering guidance to the design process, I guess, to say.
Right, that's right.
The town would be okay with, it's not $1 million, the town's sort of okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to know what the town thinks about that. So I'll take a motion for Article 4.
Move to recommend Article 4.
I'll second that.
Okay, Kashaba. Michelle.
Yeah,
Fine.
Oh, Kashaba. Was that yes? Kashaba, I didn't hear you, your vote.
Bummer.
Kashaba, can you hear me? Okay, Michelle.
Aye.
You're a yes.
Yes, I'm a yes.
Okay. John Grieven.
I would say no, just without knowing what this would do for us.
Okay. Joe.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Okay. John.
Yes.
I'm a no, actually.
Okay, so can you give me that vote so I can put it in my recommendation?
Yes, I'll have to write it. Well.
No, what's the vote now?
Oh, 4-2.
4-2. 4, 2 against. Okay. So.
And one abstention. I'm calling Kashaba an abstention, basically.
Okay, so I have not written a recommendation for this because I didn't know how this was going to land. So I had the option of I get to write a recommendation depending on where this lands, or we're going to defer to fall meeting when I thought maybe we would get the information on the return on investment. For everyone who voted yes, I can type something up that basically, we all voted yes because, give me some ideas here.
It's really going to be a function of how efficient the geothermal is, basically. But if that turns to be beneficial, I think, what did we write last night? We had something like the long-term fiscal benefit to the town would be positive.
Even if we broke even after the 50 years of that fire station, that's a service to the community.
And I don't think it'll be 50 years.
Yeah, and that's...
Obviously, not obviously, but the upfront cost of geothermal is the big deal, right? It's all the drilling. But then once it's in theory,
yeah, it's there. And then it's the fossil fuels. And it's just, my thing is, do we want to put in something about, like, it's kind of our moral obligation to start.
Yeah.
We're a green community. So just because of that, we're supposed to be building greener buildings.
Yeah,
but the future.
It's a tough one. It really is.
Yes, and I think my non-recommendation would be that I think we have to be, even $1 million is a lot of money to find in a year when we're talking about overrides, and we have a lot of impact on taxes of other costs going up. So I think, regardless of how nice it is and how admirable it is to actually support green building, I think we have to be very recognizing of the fact that this it's $1 million.
Yeah, but it's hard to swallow. But we have an override this year, and then we have 49 more years, or I guess the fire station doesn't get built for several years. So 60 years from now,
how
many of those years will go by that we say, we could have afforded $1 million during that override?
Well, bear in mind,
now we have this fire station that's a relic of the past.
We've got 30 years of paying for it, so the $1 million actually would be more than $1 million over that time period. It's probably $1.5 million actually.
So $1.5 million over 30 years, though.
Yeah.
And then you want to kind of think about that, like really versus not being green. So anyway, okay. So you guys are kind of okay with what I write, some sort of what I just said, what you said, and okay.
And I'll write something similar to what I just said.
And you'll do
which I'll send into Kelly as a minority.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Tony, if you need help with that or whatever, just let me know.
Yeah, thanks, yeah. So you and I were the two no's, right? Yeah. Okay, so Article 5, MBTA communities. So,
Do we have questions? Because we have.
are there any questions on this?
Alec
Yeah, for Alec? We were just generally disappointed with the town's approach to this, actually.
I've driven past it a couple times, and I'm like, you don't even, you have to leave our town to even get into that neighborhood.
So I think the town's approach, I think your approach was good, because you guys worked really hard on that. I think it was the conclusion that was a little
We're
disappointing.
going to build 2 new houses or something.
Yeah, like, you know, and I think, and you heard that at the select board meeting last night
Yeah.
as well. You know, I mean.
We've evaded the spirit of the law and the,
So if
Yeah.
Mean More sells,
yeah.
which takes a 90% vote of the condo association, and it gets knocked down, and then someone buys it, plus the front buildings, we would net 30 additional housing units. That's a lot of ifs,
Yeah.
this, and then, and then. So,
Anyway, I'll take a motion for Article 5.
Move to recommend Article 5?
Second.
Okay. So vote. Kashava.
Aye. Yes.
You're yes. Okay, great. Michelle.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Kashava. Got it. John.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. John Connor
Yes.
and Tony Newton. Yes. So we're 7-0.
Okay, and the recommendation, Finance Committee unanimously recommends this article will ensure the town meets the deadline set by the state to zone for MBTA Community Overlay District, thus ensuring we will not lose grant money from the state. It is regrettable that the resulting overlay zoning, though fulfilling the legal requirements, does not necessarily uphold the spirit of the law. Is that okay? Is that too harsh?
I think it ends on a negative. I would tag on at the end. We hope or we recommend or whatever that moving forward, the planning board and or the town, can consider a more aggressive approach to building more housing and affordable housing, especially.
Okay.
Yeah, I just yeah.
Ended on a more positive note.
Yeah,
I don't want to be too harsh.
Yeah, just about the future and not about this. This stinks. Like, and because of that, we hope that X, Y, Z happens. Is how I would.
You done bad.
Okay,
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
okay.
Okay. Article 6. Amendment to change the stone walls bylaw.
I was outraged by this.
You're outraged. Okay.
You're outraged by this?
No. Come on. Stay with me.
I'll take a
Stone
motion.
wall
I'll take a
in it.
motion on this one.
Move to recommend Article 6.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favour of Article 6. So Kashava.
Yes.
Kashava, yes. Michelle.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Maria.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
And Tony. Yes. Okay. 7-0.
And my recommendation, just as Finance Committee unanimously recommends. I didn't get into the punitive thing. I'll say that when I get to the microphone.
Yeah. Okay, then, to establish an appointed board of assessors. Is there a motion for this one?
Move to recommend Article 7.
Okay,
Yes,
Yeah.
second.
yeah. Any discussion on this?
I don't think so.
Yeah, any discussion? I did, well, let's do a vote on it first. Kashava. Kashava? Michelle?
Yes.
Oh, Kashava's yes. Okay, good. Michelle?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Yes.
Maria, yes. John?
Yes.
Tony, yes. Okay. Okay. So I did write a recommendation for this, which I can probably share. Stop sharing this.
Mr. Chairperson, I'm just going to step aside for the evening. Have a good
Okay.
night.
Yeah. Thanks, Alec.
Thanks,
Thank
Alec.
you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
See you later.
So what I said was that the Finance Committee recommends this article. The Finance Committee believes that a Board of Assessors will provide improved oversight of critical financial decisions which are currently the sole responsibility of the town assessor. Board of Assessors will provide an additional layer of decision-making support and will provide greater confidence in the town valuation process. Currently, decisions that impact on taxes, specifically the amount of the overlay reserve, can be made by the assessor without additional approval of any other board or town meeting. Okay?
Very good. Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Back to the warrant.
Gary?
Yep. Go ahead, yep. Gary.
What you read was good, but I'm wondering whether you want to add in the words that the current interim town planner also assessor highly recommends that we do this also.
Is that in the summary?
It's not in my summary.
No, but is it in the article summary?
Let me look.
I don't see it. Summary.
It's not in the article summary.
Yeah, it's not there.
Some reason.
I don't.
I mean, does that? I mean, it's sort of, that's. I'm not sure that's that critical, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if somebody asks the select board, can you answer that question, or
Yeah.
so. Or maybe, you know, in the presentation, Mike, you could mention that if someone in the select board's doing a
Yeah.
presentation on this.
And then Article 8 was the amendment to general bylaw, date of town meeting and town elections. So this is just this is a one-off, I think, for next year, right? To actually change the date to a different date in June.
It amends the general bylaws so that it allows more flexibility. So it will be for next year, maybe not the year after,
Yeah.
but it allows the select board to make that decision based on what's going on at the
Right.
time, instead of having to do this.
What was the issue that caused this?
Because of the potential of an operating override and a state fire station override, debt exclusion override, and, you know, voting on that, there was a concern that we couldn't all fit in the gym. Because
okay.
last year's meeting was so big.
Yeah.
So we could only get the Regency for like the week after when we normally have town meeting.
But we
But-
had to have it then.
Yes,
So
because.
we have to
it's
change
in
our town
yes.
bylaws for the
Right.
scheduling of a
Right.
hotel.
So so we've done that one other
Okay.
time for COVID,
Yeah.
because we moved it from May to June, but because of the state of emergency, we could do that, we could
We could just do it.
overrule our
Yep.
bylaws
Yeah.
to do that. So this gives more flexibility in case there's another issue, and then we had to
Okay.
move the election, because we moved the meeting to when the election would be held.
Okay, thank you for the background.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll take a motion on this one.
Move to recommend Article 8.
Okay.
Yeah, second.
Okay. Kishaba. Michelle.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Yes.
Maria.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Tony. Yes. Okay. So 600. Okay, I think that's a lot, right?
Yep.
Yep.
That's all.
That's it. Good.
So I'm gonna just clean up a little bit at that one. I'm gonna send mine, I told Kelly, tomorrow by about 1, I would have the information to her.
And for that last one, I'll just say, for the reasons above, basically.
That's right,
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
need to be anything fancy on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah. Okay, good. FY25 budget. So we have some updates on the dashboard that came in. Where is the dashboard over here? So, a couple of things. One was the reserves. We discussed this last time about the free cash number. And if you recall, the number went down because Honghua had deducted.
What's the matter?
Oh, sorry, not sharing, sorry. Oh,
No, you are sharing.
I'm sharing.
I'm seeing.
Oh, but, it didn't, yeah. Let me go
Oh,
back.
you know what, that's weird.
This because I've been in presentation mode,
Oh,
I think.
okay.
I think, let me share it again in non-presentation mode. So is that sharing now? Let's have a
So
look.
it's sharing,
No.
It's sharing on the
it's
Zoom.
weird.
It's sharing on the Zoom, but not on the.
Yeah, it's presentation mode will do that.
It's not presentation mode now, it's just regular.
So what's on your screen right now? The Zoom screen or
The Zoom
big
screen, yeah.
So that's weird. So the big screen's like stuck.
You're sort of stuck, yeah.
Isn't that weird?
That's weird. Anyway, we can hopefully, well, if everyone's on Zoom, they can see the Zoom screen,
Yeah,
right?
you can see the Zoom screen, yep.
So right. So the thing of interest here was the reserves. So remember last time we talked about this free cash number had gone down significantly because we had deducted from the free cash number the 800,000 that was approved at town meeting for free cash warrant articles. And my understanding was that anything approved at town meeting couldn't be spent until July the 1st.
Right.
But Mike and Honghua and I discussed that this afternoon, and according to Mike and Honghua, they believe you can spend free cash articles in the same year you get a town meeting, i.e. in that. I still don't believe that, frankly, but I mean, but that's
never been.
Yeah.
Gary? Nope. Gary doesn't.
Unless it's in special town meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything in special town meeting can be spent.
So
next day.
Mike told me. Mike, are you still online, Mike? Actually.
I am.
Yeah. So you told me, right, that free cash was different because we have the free cash in hand, therefore we can spend it in the same year. Is that correct?
That's correct. So Honghua emailed our representative at Department of Local Service, Division of Local Services, and the answer was that free cash that's been certified and had a town meeting vote can be spent immediately. So in the year before, our free cash was certified on September 25th. So anytime after September 25th, with either a special or annual town meeting vote, that money can be spent, as opposed to raise and appropriate, which can't be spent until July 1st. So that free cash can be spent anytime from last year, September 25th, up through June 30th. And then that 800,000 that you're discussing was encumbered, therefore spent right after the town meeting. And that was confirmed with our DLS representative who's been representing the town for some number of years.
So that's a total change in practice. So you spent the 800,000 in free cash?
Well, it's not spent, it's actually just encumbered. What they're saying is that because it's been approved by town meeting, it's now encumbered, it's actually sort of set aside.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that I understand.
And so therefore, it's no longer available, free cash is no longer, it's not no longer available as free cash as of that moment, I guess.
That's right, I knew
town
that.
meeting,
That makes sense.
So that's why the number's gone down to 2.4 million.
Doesn't have to wait till the next year.
Because it got encumbered early.
Right, and it's
Right.
free cash. It's
But,
not.
so I understand, so it's really just a matter of, that's what it would have been on July 1st anyway.
Yes, it's just going to that point early.
Right,
It's in
right,
Q4.
so they're encumbering it early, not necessarily spending it early.
But they could,
yeah,
But
so
but some of it could be spent early.
So, but now, is this the year-end free cash number before all the year-end stuff rolls in? Like, what's the certified free cash number?
We won't know that.
We won't know that until the fall.
September.
What do we think the certified free cash number is?
I mean, that's the number before anything rolls back in, right? From the operating budget, which was, we know it's at least $1 million going to come back in to that number. So Q1, we should have another number, which will be this number plus whatever rolls back in.
So you're thinking about 3.3 million?
Yes.
You sent the paperwork in, right? So was it around, I won't hold you guys to this, like, I promise. I won't steal your children or anything. I just am curious about what that number is. Is it like 3.3-ish?
Yes.
But that's not certified. Then it'll be
that's
certified by, and they have their own number, right? Their own sort of magic number that comes up, because it's based on all sorts of other things, like how much taxes are owed and paid and that.
But all that's filled in, so it should be pretty close to what you sent into the state. Because on the form that you send in for free cash, you list all that stuff, correct?
Yeah, but I haven't got to that step yet. I
didn't complete and submit it yet. I didn't do
Okay.
any of that yet.
Right, right. But
Yeah.
but what we submit is pretty close to what we get back
Sure.
from DOR.
On the
Yeah.
free cash estimate?
Last year,
No.
wasn't, was it? Yeah.
No, I think for the last few years, we've had
We got more than we
the
thought.
numbers bigger than what we
Yeah, yeah.
expect. We're always like, where did this free cash come from?
Yes,
Yeah.
well, I'm way more comfortable this year with whatever goes into the BD.
No, that's a fair point,
So-
obviously.
Yeah.
Goes without saying.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
so,
Yeah.
but, okay. So so it's about, it ends up being almost the same as it was before town meeting.
We hope.
We end up
Yes.
hopefully at the same place-ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not bad, although I'd still like
So
to
can I
know.
just ask a question on that $800,000? Is that going to happen for everything that was, why didn't that happen the year before? Why didn't we have that issue?
Well, I don't,
This is a change of
Okay, so
practice.
change your practice.
purely
Yeah.
practice. It wasn't
Yeah.
because of what we were paying for. It was because we just,
No, last
could.
year's free cash expenses were not taken out in Q4. They were not accounted for in Q4. They were,
okay.
they were accounted for in Q1. So
Last
they
year, right.
rolled. They rolled to the next, okay.
Yeah.
And last year and every year for the last 50 years. Like, we've not
Yeah.
done this. This is a complete change in practice for
I mean,
the town.
it doesn't really matter that much because it's only
It's
we-
a matter of dates.
it's just a
Well-
phasing difference, isn't it? Really, I mean,
True, but it's tying it closer to when it's actually encumbered, which I think is probably the appropriate
more
thing to do.
appropriate. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I am, oh no, not the overlay. Never mind. I'm sorry, I got confused. Stabilization.
Okay. We did update the debt number for BAN, which is unchanged at 1132. And the other thing that is now complete on here is the outstanding tax came in. So I'm not quite sure, Hongwa, is this the number as of today, or was this the number as of the start of the quarter? Actually, this number that Naomi sent us today.
That's for the fourth quarter.
That's for the fourth quarter?
Yes.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
have 577,000 in uncollected taxes for the fourth quarter.
According to this, yeah. Well, no, for the year.
I'm sorry, for the year.
Yeah, so we had 26 million we should have collected
Yeah.
the entire year. Of that, we've still got 500,000 unpaid, so,
And we also have an additional 270 in personal property taxes that's uncollected on that last line.
as of right now, yeah, according to this, yeah.
So wow, that's a lot.
It may not be that much in terms of timings maybe of when bills are out and things haven't been paid yet.
Well, keep in mind, that's June 30th,
Yeah, that's true.
right? So
Well, I don't, yeah,
we're in mid-September.
yeah, it depends if this number is from June 30th though, or if this number's from today.
But it's FY, oh,
Right, this
yeah,
is
FY
Q4.
25, yeah.
So as of the end of the quarter, how I'm reading this is that there's still 270,000 outstanding, but maybe on July the 2nd, some got paid.
Okay,
So we'll see what next quarter looks like.
okay.
So yeah, I would like to get a tighter timing of getting this data in from Naomi on a sort of quarterly basis. It took us almost all quarter to get this number from her. So if we can get a process in place to actually get this number early in the quarter, that would be great, Hongwa.
Okay.
Any questions on that? Reserve fund transfers. We have a reserve fund transfer. Mike, are you online still? Yes, you are.
I am.
Yeah. Do you want to just quickly just describe this? I know we all know what it is, but this is the town.
Sure.
This is the fire station steps.
Yeah, so as we talked about at the last meeting, we did replace the fire escape at the current fire station, and it was just under $10,000 for the work, plus materials. So this is so that we can go ahead and get that paid.
Great. Okay. So this is So this is a request for 11,537
Hold on, I'm gonna, you can shop, go ahead. 'Cause you're coming up on
and
that.
62 cents for the exterior stairs of the fire station. So I'll take a motion to approve that.
Move to approve the RFT.
Maria?
Second.
Those in favour, Kashava. Michelle.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Maria.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Tony. Yes. Okay, so we've approved that. I'll sign this off and we'll sign it and get it back to you this evening. Thanks. FY26 budget updates. I don't think there's anything to add to FY26. Any other comments or questions? FY27 budget is the model that we had talked about last time. So I did a little bit more work on the model.
Me too.
Where is it? Yeah. So it's still not showing on here.
I
Look.
know, it's bizarre, you must have a hidden
Try
window.
Control F10.
Okay, hold on, you just turned it off.
I just pulled the plug out. Control F10.
What does that do?
Sometimes online it gives you the option to do, so if I go Control F10, I get
Control F7.
PC
F7.
screen, duplicate, extend, second screen, so you can set it to mirror
Or can
instead
you
of.
escape out of the display mode on that?
This happened to me once and somebody had to walk over and play with my computer because I couldn't figure out how to do it.
That might be.
Susan's laughing at
Something
me.
going on here, look.
So F7 for you. So try Control F7, or just F7 maybe without the control.
Previous
function
function away
F7.
from the shared application, it says there.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
No. Oh,
No,
is
but
it?
that's okay, because then,
Yeah, no, close that. Okay,
there you
good.
go. Good. Good job.
Okay, so this model again is sort of a bit of a work in progress, but this assumes that the levy limit base increases by 4.3% a year. There's an excluded debt component to the levy limit, which is not, obviously not part of it, which actually adds to the levy limit.
It does, okay, that was one of my questions.
Yeah. So we have levy limit is what it is, plus whatever is excluded from the levy limit.
But you don't have that for FY27.
There is nothing in FY27. That's why, because we have stuff in 26, and I think that goes away in 27.
And we don't have any debt exclusion for 27.
I believe not from the charts I saw.
And then, are you assuming the out years is the fire station?
Yes, and I
Okay.
shifted it all 1 year
Okay,
back from where it was.
Okay.
Because we've been a year delayed.
yep, okay.
So these are these numbers for the fire station at the bottom here are the numbers that I based on 32.7 million, which is
where we're gonna have to go for now.
yeah.
I mean, that's gonna, it depending on where we're building, but I'll give that update when we get.
Right, okay. And then what I've got in here is essentially a pro forma, budget for each of the years, assuming certain increases each year, which is the best I could do, really.
So, the free cash number that you have in there,
That's money from free cash that we will spend on warrant articles each of those years.
so for next year, you're thinking we're gonna spend about $800,000 on.
I'm assuming it's sort of status quo throughout.
Okay.
We spend that much money typically in a year.
Does that sound right from the capital committee?
I haven't discussed it with the capital committee.
So you assumed a 5% growth rate on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was looking at that, and I'm speaking aside from the capital committee right now. I'm just wondering if there's some other way we could factor that in terms of, is it like a percentage of our total budget or something like that? You're just assuming the growth of it?
I'm assuming, it's like this year, next year's a little bit more, and,
Yeah. Other than that,
Yeah.
we have to look at the capital plan to see if
Yeah.
that's even in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Right, so currently a 5% increase on itself, not 5% of the operating budget each year. So,
Right.
No,
so
no.
they could drift over the 10 years we're
Yeah.
looking at.
So, well, can we
Good ballpark.
Can I just jump back up to the top? And I'm
Yeah,
sorry
yeah.
if this is remedial for most of you, but, so the levy limit base
Yeah,
plus what's excluded then equals the total.
yes.
Okay, so can you explain to me line 5 for a second? The levy limit exclusion?
That's basically the debt, the cost of debt for the fire station.
Oh, okay,
Or
okay.
any other debt that we
Yeah.
voted as a debt exclusion.
Yeah.
Okay, so, okay.
But on this model, it's basically the fire station debt just gets carried straight up there.
So if you have a debt exclusion, that still counts against your levy limit?
You can add it to the levy limit,
Adds to the levy limit.
but it goes away when it's gone. It's not a permanent increase to the levy limit.
Okay, so, all right. So that's really debt exclusions,
Yes.
essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that takes a vote at the ballot. So it's a vote at town meeting and a vote at the ballot. That's what I'm saying, when we look at capital projects this year, or capital things, we can look at, instead of necessarily free cash or within, bonding within the levy, we can look at saying, okay, we have a $300,000 truck, we're gonna do a debt exclusion on that. And make it a town meeting vote plus a ballot vote, because that's what we did years ago, right after we did the override. We had a couple of years where we would do equipment, bigger equipment, and do it as a debt exclusion vote. So, that's how we kind of got through some financial pinches in the past. Does that make sense?
It does, but.
It doesn't just need to be a fire station.
Yep, okay.
Liz had her hand up.
Yeah, Liz, do you have a comment?
Hold on, Liz. Hold on, yeah, there you go.
Awesome, thank you. I just wanted to let you guys know, I noticed that the assumption for the ABRSD assessment is at 6%.
Yeah.
And that was with the cuts that we were able to make for FY26. I do think that you guys are gonna want to estimate a little bit higher than that. Complete speculation ballpark, because we haven't even really started the budget discussion for FY27 at least. I think that you guys should be looking more like the 10 to 13%.
Yeah, for the assessment. Yeah, I mean, I recognise that, Liz. I mean, this is just sort of a plug number right now, but.
Okay, which is fine. I just didn't want, to start out with these really low assumptions, because
Right.
that was with us cutting a whole lot, and we have to go level funded for this next year. And at the same time, we're trying to, figure out, we just got the data from our consultants with sort of what feedback we got. So we're very much in the process of trying to figure out how to make things leaner, but I just don't want that assumption to be 6%. I just wanted to let you guys know it's not going to be.
No. And the purpose of this model is actually something we can share at the joint meeting we have with the school committee to look at these numbers and sort of look at scenario planning, basically. Whether we will agree with numbers or not, it'll be another matter, but we have to know what the impact will be if that is the case. What's the impact of that on the number?
Okay, but that was all I wanted, because I just noticed with that number, and I was like, guys, that's low. You don't want that number yet.
I fully appreciate that.
I mean, yeah, aside from that.
Deep breath,
Um,
I can't even.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
just
take
beside myself with that.
Just take a pause. So revenues, for example, you have 5% growth on revenues. I'm assuming that's 5% every year, right?
Yes. That's right.
Is that what we've experienced so far? I don't think it's that.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that growth? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
So I think last year we did 3%
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah. Yeah. All assumptions can be challenged and changed. It's a model, right?
No, exactly.
The other thing which is in here, which is we have a bonding amount each year, which I've not factored in actually in terms of the debt servicing below. So I'm trying to figure out how to model that. So we have a debt servicing line here, which is our current debt servicing. We obviously add to that with the fire station debt servicing, but there'll be other adds to it with anything else we buy bonded in future years. So we've got to figure that down into that as well. So other capital costs that we have that we bond.
Okay. Are you committed to this order? I mean, I don't know how often we're going to present this, but just having a levy at the top and
Well, but the things, it all feeds up to the levy, right? So the question is, how far off are we from our levy limit? And if it's, the red number here means it's actually above the levy limit.
Right, yep.
And the question is, how much is that above the limit? So on this current model, we end up, this much above the levy limit. But if we put in that the school budget is going to be 10%, what does that do to it?
Yeah.
Right. So now you got a $17,000.
But you're in FY36.
Yeah. But I'm trying to figure out what should the override be to give us a 10-year
We're trying to,
window.
Oh, so we don't override in
Right.
FY
That's the
30 or
purpose of this.
something.
Yeah.
Well, if the school continues to give these increases, we're going to be overriding every 3 years, so.
Well, the idea is not to do that, right? I mean, the idea is we want the whole positioning of this would be, we're not talking about an override just to increase the budget this year. We're talking about an override to give us the headroom so we can continue modestly increasing the budget every year, as we have been doing.
keyword being modest.
Yes.
Maria, when was the last one? Like 20, 25 years ago, something?
20
My 29-year-old twins were in 3rd grade.
Okay.
So how old are you in 3rd grade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About what, 8?
Yeah, I mean, but that was after years, probably 3 or 4 years. Gary was on the FinCom at the time, and so was Susan, I think, of really strict budgeting. And we have actually, that's my concern with this override. We have added a head count or 2 or hours every year for the last 3 years. When we went into an override last time, we had been cutting head counts at the school, because we were not a region, so at Blanchard and in the town for 3 years. And we got to the point where we said we can't cut anymore. There's literally nothing else to cut out of this budget. I don't think we've done that in this budget.
Well, the school have been cutting headcount, to be fair.
In what budget specifically?
Say again?
In what? budgets?
Well, in both the town, I can't speak to the town. I understand the school's been cutting. 2 years ago, the school sat here and said, we're gonna work on making structural changes. And we didn't last year, and now we got a consultant, and yada, yada, yada. That's how I feel about like what I'm hearing, because I read the executive summary that was presented a couple weeks ago.
Did you listen to the presentation?
I did not.
Okay,
I will, and hopefully you'll give us an update. In any event, we have not, on the town side, I don't think we've made significant cuts over the last 3 years. And I think that, we're gonna go to the town and say, we need an override of however X number of dollars without really scrubbing budgets. And I think that a 5% increase on the town side in a year when we're going into an override is a lot. I'm sorry, I know, I don't have the budgets in front of me, and I think last year's model was a disaster to try to figure out, kind of year over year. But examples, $7,500 for the planning board consultant that they haven't used in 3 years. Well, that could be cut to $2,500. The $2,500 for, employee appreciation. Well, maybe we need to look at that as being a $750 number. And it may be small numbers, but we need to be able to say to the town, we looked at these budgets, and this is as low as we can go without cutting personnel. And we shouldn't, I'm not saying we should lay off people in town. I do not believe that.
Right.
But I do think we need to look at every single extra dollar in that budget and see where we can cut. Because we have $1 million that's been rolling back into free cash year over year. Our insurance hasn't been right for the last couple of years, that kind of thing. So we just need to budget tight. And so 5% seems like a lot to me. I know this is a first pass, and we're gonna hopefully get to the point where we can do a point of view as a finance committee, and put it out to everybody, and, and we're all on the same page. We may not be on the same page, but we'll see. So.
Right, but we need to know what we're up against. So the model gives us that, and that's what I'm trying to do here, basically.
Yeah.
As we start this process.
Can you just bring it over so we can see what the lines are? What that column?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's where we are. Yeah, for the action box, we have to also understand that a 5% increase in their budget is probably 10% for us, right? I mean, it's just because of the changing school population. Whether that will continue on throughout the next 10 years, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little dubious of that. Like at the BLF meeting, it was kind of we were hearing our enrollment was going up, Acton's was going down, and then the next time we heard from the school committee, it was somewhat adjusted. So I just with all like the developments that are happening in Acton and everything, I just don't see us continuing to rise and Acton continuing to fall and our assessment going up, indefinitely. But
Yeah, I mean, they have a huge project
Yeah.
going in on 62 on the Maynard line.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, half of that's in Maynard. The garage is in Maynard.
Yeah.
The apartments are in Acton, so the kids are going to the Acton schools. And that's like, I want to say 200 units.
Oh, wow.
And if there's two-bedroom units in
So
those,
that
you're
may
gonna get
that may
kids.
help us in the right, because if
Yeah.
that's really the case, and we start to sort of flatten out in terms of the enrollment growth from Boxwood to Acton, that means that the assessment doesn't get skewed towards Boxwood.
Yeah, that is true.
And then
And, yeah.
maybe we will be more like a 6% or something like that.
Which
so-
would be, because that's, you kind of want to get there where you're a little bit more even
Yeah.
on your enrollment, because then that
Yeah.
makes it not so skewed.
Yeah.
Right, we're 10% and Acton's, whatever it is, 4%.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still paying their share, but it seems like we're paying
Yeah.
more.
One of the assumptions that the consultant was using in making these projections was that we are getting older as a town,
Yeah.
but we're not having kids. Do you remember that?
Yeah. It's
So
all
it
weird,
was a
wasn't it?
really
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
metric that came up.
So, we're getting older as a town. The houses in my neighborhood, 4 houses have turned over.
No, I shouldn't say we're getting older. There are more older people in the town
Yeah.
with less kids.
Yeah. Well,
Which
the
I
3 houses
didn't
that have turned
understand.
over have had, hopefully, I don't know what's gonna happen with one of them, but the house down the street, 2 professionals, no children, bought that
wow.
house. The house across the street, 2 professionals, no children, bought that house. The house that way across the street, 2 professionals, no children.
Well, yeah,
That's
but
all right,
Maybe not
okay.
yet, though, right?
I don't know, maybe not yet, but it used to be when those houses were starter houses and went on the market, a young family would move in.
Yeah.
It would be, because the houses in my neighborhood are not $1 million houses, right?
Okay, but so these people are in their young 30s, early 30s?
I would say early 30s.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, it may or may not, but I mean, they're not, the houses aren't turning over, the starter homes aren't turning over into, initially it was like young families would move in, and that's not, in my neighborhood at least,
So,
that's not happening.
that may help us then, right? I mean,
Yeah,
if
ultimately.
that means that less kids move into town because of the demographics are changing,
Yeah,
that would help us. I mean, there's a lag on that, right? So we're on a sort of 3-year rolling
Yeah.
thing, right, for the town.
but ultimately, this may not be quite so dire with the assessment down the line, because we're figuring
Right.
10% straight across,
And
but the reality
the problem is,
that-
a small difference here, 10 years out makes a big difference in
Yeah.
terms of the number. So that's the problem with all these models.
do we know what Acton's doing for their MBTA zoning yet? Because we just zoned something that's not going to bring any new units of kids in. So-
I think,
Or
down by the train station, there's a bunch of property that they've rezoned. I mean, they have to come up with like 700 units, I think, because they are an actual MBTA town, whereas we're a pass-through. So that's where we get far less than they have to do. But, again, they could be going with this letter of the law, not the spirit of the law, right?
Yeah.
Because they have Avalon, they could literally just rezone where Avalon is in North and be done with it. So I don't know that they have though, but I think there's an area down by the South Acton train station that is one area that's been zoned.
So maybe the action here is that, can everyone look at this model and
Yeah, I mean,
give come back to the next meeting with some feedback, and because it's a starting point, right?
Well, I think it's hard though, because we can control some stuff. We can control the articles that come up. And we can control how they're funded. We can control through the capital committee. Maybe the capital committee can look at stuff and say, we're gonna put this off for a year, we're gonna put this off for 2 years. So while I think the 5 and the 10% on the operating budget and the assessment, those may be what they are. I do think there's a little bit more control that can be had on the, whatever articles.
Sure, but yeah.
So I mean.
There's also a lot of stuff you can't control, right, as well, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Revenues is one of them.
Yeah.
We can't control, and I do think that number.
And
I agree with John,
expenditure
that's too
stuff,
high.
as we know, things like all the benefits and that stuff, you can't really control that. That
Nope.
just goes up.
Nope.
So there's a certain amount you can do to tighten the budget. There's a certain amount we can't do.
No, but I agree. But we can, at least with the debt and the articles, we can have a little bit more control over that on our recommendations and our funding, particularly around the funding for the articles.
And yes, we did add a couple of headcounts, but they were sort of low-cost headcounts, really.
But it goes to pension,
Yeah,
and
I
it
know,
goes
I know,
to
yeah.
benefits and all of that, so
Yeah, yeah.
you won't convince me low count doesn't count, 'cause
No,
it does.
but also thinking about services to the population of the town that are not necessarily school services. I mean, we're trying to sort of balance out what we're giving here. It's, you know, it's what social services type things that we're trying to also be aware of. So there's all sorts of...
Maria's convinced.
John, I look at? I do think there's services we need to give in town,
Yeah.
and that's, I agree with that.
Would you mind if I play, like,
You can do what
put
you
some
like.
assumptions on one page and...
Do it, you can add,
and then have a nice
but
print?
just make a new tab, right? Make a new tab.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
So
All right,
just,
all right.
Whatever. Yeah, okay. Anything else on this? Okay, next topic is the
Depressing.
Fire Station Building Committee update, which is now a standing topic of this meeting.
It just keeps getting better and better. No, our last two meetings have been, our last meeting, which was when I was on vacation, but I did watch the meeting, the committee took, they had, I told you about the Monday night sessions, listening sessions that were taking place. There was some suggestions made on how to cut expenses on the building by cutting square footage. So that information was taken, and the engineers provided us with additional, it's very difficult because it basically was a value engineering session without a design. You can't really value engineer when you don't have a design. But we made some assumptions in the original estimate, right? So we took that sheet and we went through some of the suggestions that were made from this Monday night group. You know, make the entranceway smaller. Well, the answer to that is we could say 50 square feet, but the reality is that's dictated by the size of the building. So we can't just make it smaller because we don't like the size of it. So we were able to answer a lot of those questions. I think that as we went through, we said, this is a good idea, this isn't a good idea. One of the things, there's a planning room, a conference room, and a training room. Well, can you consolidate the three? Do we really need a room for plans and a room for we don't. So I think that's something that we're gonna look at. But that doesn't cut that much out. These offices are like 150 square feet.
Right. What about the number of bays?
So we talked about the bays, and actually, the committee and the engineers looked at it, and we are not gonna cut the amount of bays. And we're not gonna cut the amount of bays, because if you look at the equipment we have, the bays, the bays we currently have do not fit our equipment. The bays in our plan only have room for one extra piece of apparatus, right? And we're gonna have 2 ambulances as soon as the new ambulance comes in. So we looked at that, and it was a pretty long discussion. And the bottom line is we don't wanna take $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 piece of equipment and park them outside.
Yeah.
Because-
but we don't need, right now we don't need the extra bay, you're saying?
But we can't, we made a conscious decision, we don't, no, I'm not saying we don't need the extra bay. It's just that we have space to add one piece of apparatus that we don't it's not like we currently, but we can fill the bays because we have other stuff. But
yeah.
what we said is, so half of the bay, if the bay is this big, half of the bay's got apparatus in it, and there's one little spot that's not filled, okay? So we need 4.5 bays, and there's one spot that may be filled with a future apparatus. When we get the second ambulance, that'll fill that bay. But there was talk about, well, we'll just do 4 bays, and we'll just add it on. The reality is that's not gonna happen. It took us 13 years to get to a point where we're almost to design. We're never gonna add on.
Right.
So we gotta do what makes sense so that we can have a building that's good.
Depends on the cost of the extra bay is.
Well, so, hold on a second, let me I agree, but we talked about all of that. And we decided as a committee, that doesn't mean that the town's gonna decide differently, that is not gonna be on our list of cuts for this round. Now, again, we have to go to design, and then once you have a design, we can really then value engineer it for real, because this is our design. And does this make sense? Can we cut the apparatus, the 5 apparatus bays down a little bit? Absolutely. So maybe we have 10 feet between the bays, and we're gonna do 5 feet if that's within regulation. So we can cut spaces, but it is very difficult to do this when you don't have a design to do it with. That said, they being the engineers, put together a list of cuts. And they had like $90,000 if we scale all the way back on plantings. Well, we can't do that because the planning board won't allow us to put it anywhere without putting plantings and screenings. But can we cut back a little bit? Maybe, so we have that. There was ceiling, roofing materials, maybe make one section flat roofing, you can save, $100,000 here, you can, so there's places to save on materials, and so that make more of a cut than necessarily taking out a bay. If we can cut $150,000 out of materials and another $50,000 out of planting, you're at $200,000. That's probably going to be, is that more than the bay? Or so we're trying to do that, and we went through that list. We crossed some stuff out that just didn't make sense. Things that we don't have control over, things that are regulated by code. So we said, no, we can't do these. And then we're going to take those, give them back to the engineers, and they were going to look at them again. And we were going to I think we're trying to refine this list so we can get to a point where we go to town meeting and say, all right, we've made, here's what we've looked at changing and cutting. In addition, we're looking at tightening up the estimate that we had, which had things like the demolition of 502. Well, if we're not building on 502, which I'm not saying we're not, but if we're building at 1300 for sake of argument, not saying 72, the select board needs to knock that building down. That should be part of a separate budget. That shouldn't be part of the bigger budget. So we're looking to clean up the budget and make sure, the design fees was presented, like the $32 million had design fees in it. We're going to take that out. What is it going to cost to construct this building? Construct the building. So
that's a little bit smoke and mirrors, isn't it, really?
It's not, because it's going to be out there. But if we're voting the $2.2 million for design in December, we cannot say that the building's going to cost $32 million in May.
Right.
The construction is going to be $30 million. We've already voted the $2 million. Everyone's going to get a chance to vote on this. It's not smoke and mirrors. It's just, here's what the construction of the building is, here's what the design of the building is, here's what the demolition of 502 is. So when you take it and you say 24,000 square foot building, or 20,000 at this point, divided by $32 million equals X, that's not the building cost. Right? So we're going to have all of that there. You're going to see it all, but you can't, because then we have people who say, well, Carlisle did it for this much money, and so did it for this much money, but we're including all sorts of stuff in this budget that isn't part of it, So we're trying to get it to actually be more transparent, right? So we're going to look at that, and then we spent a lot of time talking about these articles and how, and we went back and forth. There was discussion when I was on vacation at that meeting, and then we had another meeting, and that's when we finalize the final language.
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy your argument that you should, saving on plantings and the roof, you could save as much as you save by not having a bay.
I didn't say you could. I'm just saying there was a lot on that list.
I'm saying, why don't you do both? When you have no bay and have no plantings either.
Because, Tony, we're going to build a building that we grow out of in 2 years. I mean, we need to look at this. This is a multi-year building. So we have to have a building that it's a 30-year cost on the building. Right. We can't come back to the town in 10 years and say, well, we've grown out of this building. Yeah. We still have 20 years left on this bond. Now, if we get to that point, and that's the only option, we have to look at it, but it doesn't make sense. We have to build a building that we need now that has a little bit of growth, and we're not looking like they're looking at cutting out maybe bunk rooms, right? Because we have an extra office here and an extra office there, so we're cutting out some of the future growth stuff. But we got to be smart about, like, adding an apparatus bay is a huge add.
It's got to be lean. It's not going to pass the town unless we can show that everything has been looked at and it's as tight as possible.
And that's what we're trying to do. Right. So we started with one list that was not we did a design review on a building we don't have designed yet, right? And we're not design review, value engineering. We're going to have to just keep doing that.
My concern is that the original design, maybe nobody said to them, this has got to be tight on money. And they just put together a design which was...
what we did was we said, here's what the engineers said we needed. We've gone from a 24,000 square foot building down to a 20,000 square foot building, so we've already cut 4,000 square feet off. The problem is, we didn't present the 24,000 square foot building. We just knew that was, we could cut here, we could cut here, we could cut here. Sure. So no one's already seen those. So now we're going back and saying, these are all the things we've already cut. and now here's the things we're looking at as a possibility. Here are the things that don't make sense, and we're gonna eliminate, you know, making, you know, the bunk rooms 10 feet smaller. I mean, there's some stuff that just doesn't make sense. So that's, I mean, Mike, you're on this meeting. Can you, did I kind of cover it all?
Yeah, I do think that covers everything. You know, the next big steps are going to be, you know, to get to the town being able to vote for design funding and moving forward are going to be the zoning in mid-October and then site selection. And once those things are done, you know, then we can actually bring it to, you know, to vote for a design. And then, and Maria's right, until you start designing, you can't start value engineering and finding out, you know, switching one material for the other much and trying to squeeze. You squeeze too tight and then all of a sudden you can't design the building. So we have to start designing at some point.
Right. And a lot of the design depends on where it is. So if we have a single-story building, because it fits, we can get rid of stairwells, elevators, and mechanics. That's a significant savings.
Right.
We don't know that until we have a site picked. We don't know that until we get the zoning set.
I don't want to get into too many details, but I mean, have you guys explored like flexible office arrangements? Because like, you know, when we built the library, and then a few years down the road, you're like, well, we didn't quite want to use this room the same way, and now we
And
need
they
to
went
change
and
it.
rebuilt it.
Is that?
I don't think so. Did we, Mike? Is it I mean, they're flexible to a certain extent.
The biggest area where you can add flexibility, just like where you're sitting in the Grange room, is in the training room. And it's going to be set up just like that, where you've got tables that'll fold up and you can arrange into any sort of a training scenario or a meeting. That's the biggest area. The bunk rooms that are municipal best practice are actually one person, very small bunk rooms with a little locker, a bed, and a little desk. There's not much flex there.
Yep.
And there'll be 5 of those. There's some office spaces. A couple of them will be shared. The chief would have their own office space so that he can do, you know, confidential meetings, you know, personnel matters, things like that. And the apparatus bays are certainly flexible in how the apparatus can be arranged over time. Like if over the next 20 or 30 or 40 years, apparatus styles and sizes change, there's certainly flexibility in there.
Yep. Okay.
I have one question, and sorry to latch on to one of the most inconsequential things you mentioned, but when you mentioned plantings and some of those decisions, I'm just curious if like the maintenance costs of those things are considered as opposed to just the getting it on the ground built. You know, when you're talking about plantings, like natives versus not, you're gonna have landscaping, and then we're gonna have to be having it landscape maintained for 50 years versus a sustainable landscape that has no maintenance.
So most of the time when you go, if you go to the planning board meetings and they talk about landscaping, they want native plants and trees. So the experience I've had from going to the planning board meetings is they are all about, if you took a tree down that is 4 inches in diameter, you need to replace it at 6 inches kind of thing, right? And everything should be native, and especially if it is, so if it does land in, you know, let's say 72 Stowe Road, we want to make sure there's screening. It's not going to be perfectly manicured lawns and gardens. It's going to be a screening.
But even outside of planting, like I'm thinking, you know, finishes and things like that, just like is the maintenance cost of what we're building considered in the design at all?
I don't think yet, right, Mike? Because we don't have the materials. Well, we have some materials, but that's where we can value engineer as we go through. That's what we did with the school.
And with the library.
And with the library,
Just, you know, because we're debating over $1 million for, you know, green decisions over the course of the time, but, you know, I haven't really heard a discussion over what is the maintenance cost of just taking care of the grounds of this building over the time, and is that part of the design process?
We're not there yet because we don't even know where it's going to be. So I don't think we have. It's not been, I don't think it's been, right, Mike? Is that
correct? But you're correct. That is part of the design process, though, is looking at what are the maintenance costs over time and upkeep.
And what materials you use. So at the school, we changed the entire playground because they had all sorts of funky things in the playground, which was lovely, but it was really expensive and we needed to cut money out. So we just made it more of a normal playground instead of like this nature's happy place. It was just a regular play, and you know, that we cut a significant amount of money out. And again, you had the maintenance issues you don't have, you know, because we changed some of the stuff. But that comes with design. That's why this is such a difficult process, because Tony's like, it needs to be as tight as can be. We know that, but we can't get it tight because we don't have a building and we don't have a site.
Yeah.
So we can't, you know, we can cut $150,000 out if we don't have an elevator, but I can't tell you we're not gonna have an elevator.
You can't trim the fat until you have the steak on the table.
Pretty much, that's where we're at. And I'm gonna use that in the future. So,
Yeah.
that's that.
Okay, good. Anything else on that? Okay, the next topic is organisation. So we have a meeting with the Acton FinCom, the Acton Select Board, the Boxer Select Board, and the School Committee, October the 22nd. There was a meeting actually last week to discuss this a bit more, but I couldn't go. It was a meeting called at like 24 hours notice. I did send it out to the FinCom, but nobody else could go either, I don't think. That is to talk about, the school budget, I think, going forward, and where we all are in terms of supporting that.
So when are we gonna talk about where we are in terms of supporting that? I don't know how do we say whether we're gonna support it when we don't have details on it? I mean, are we just gonna arbitrarily say we'll support?
Well, I think the
or-
starting point is the model that we have, which is here's where we
Yeah,
are.
I think that's why we would really flush out the model.
Yeah.
Just to say, look, if you propose this, this is what happens to our taxpayers. How else would you go about it? To your point, you're gonna say, okay, 10%, sure.
Right,
Right, and that doesn't mean the number itself is shocking, but it doesn't mean anything. It's really, what does this translate to the taxpayer?
right,
In light of all of these other things that we're trying to lay in here, like a fire station.
right. I mean, I get that the school's cut, but it is just not, this is not sustainable.
Right.
We had an over 10% 2 years ago. Last year was normal at whatever it was, just under 6%, 5%, whatever it was. And this year we're back to 10 or 13%. It is not a sustainable model because we are not.
Well, and we have that, we have that discussion with the Acton FinCom there as well, of course, and with our own select board and the Acton select board. So, I mean, I think that's all we can do is lay out where we all are on this.
So we're gonna flesh out the model and we're gonna have a broader discussion at our next meeting before the 22nd, are we gonna have a plan or a point of view, or, that's what I'm trying to gather.
I think,
you know.
I don't see how we shouldn't. I think
That's what we should go in with,
Right.
is a.
Yeah, I mean, we can put ceilings on these numbers, right, and say, okay, then we think it should be, no more than this going forward for the school committee or for the town, or, I think that's.
Yeah, we should say, these are the numbers as a FinCom we should manage to.
Yeah.
The town should be 2.5%,
And
3%.
that doesn't mean the select
max.
board is gonna agree with us, and
Right, yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't mean the school committee is gonna agree.
Exactly.
Our job is to
Yeah.
keep these budgets.
And these are averages, so we're not always going to agree with it either.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
going to be exceptions to
Yeah.
it. But you have to put a stake in the ground
Yeah.
and project it outwards and say,
So
Go.
for next meeting, I think, look at the model, and we can refine the model, and we can, try to put a number there that we all, or even alternative numbers that we
a range.
yeah.
And we have to remember, if an override fails, and we're, we put this budget out based on an override, and an override fails, we don't get to cut the school's budget. We gotta cut the town's budget.
Yeah,
So if we're in a $300,000 deficit, we're laying off firefighters, policemen.
We need to
Town
understand what can be cut and what will be cut in the event of an override failing.
So
we explain that.
refresh my memory. on
So the problem with the region is that in the past, the town has held them harmless. Whatever the assessment is, we say thank you very much,
Right.
and we move on. And we cut on the town side. If we have an override, and that override, let's just say that for next year, we need $400,000.
Mhm.
And let's say 50,000 is for town stuff and 350 is for the region. And that fails at the polls, or a town meeting, because there's two votes, it's town meeting and the polls. And it fails. We can't cut the $350,000 from the school budget, right? I mean, we can try, we can go back to a special town meeting and say, we're gonna cut the school assessment by 350,000, and then that goes down that whole road. So we need to either do that, or we would need to cut the entire $400,000 deficit off the town budget. So in the past, we've held the region harmless. So when we had one failed override 20 some odd years ago, that money needed to come out of the town. The following year, we had the next override, and that is why it passed in the town, because we had already made significant cuts to cover the budget for the region.
Okay, so I think this practice of holding the region harmless is no longer a.
I agree with you, but they would tell you that their assessment is what they're giving us, and, you know, do you remember what they were talking about, like, we can't really cut it, and.
What's the agreement with what's the regional agreement say?
It doesn't, I think it's more law-based, I don't think
Okay.
it's based on the regional agreement.
Okay.
You know, that just formulates how
Okay.
the assessment's done. I think it's based on the law. And it has to do with, if we cut our budget, it goes back to the school committee, and if they come back and say no, and then town meeting cuts it, you know, says, nope, we're not accepting that, then we end up in a joint town meeting with Acton, and.
Right, so I think we would need.
There's a process.
We need to know,
goes.
I think that came up the first year I was here. So
Right.
I think we need to know what that process is.
Yeah.
Just to figure out, just to end state it, really, in case we have to go down this path.
As long as I just want everyone, because I don't know if you guys all were aware of that. Yeah, so, you know, we don't get to cut, like we don't on the school. Liz has her hand up. I don't know if you want.
Oh, Liz.
Hold on, Liz. Okay.
Hi, thanks. I do also think that using the term hold harmless is a little bit misleading, because that is actually what the state is holding us at, and why our schools are not fully funded by this, or as funded as, like, we are not max funded by the state, because we're held in the hold harmless status. But essentially, yes, that process would be, you know, like the schools, we have to decide our budget, and then we assess both towns based on the enrollment numbers. And then, you know, if Boxborough were to, you know, say, hey, you know, we're not going to pay this, then it goes back to the school or the district to potentially reassess the budget. And then if they stay at that same level, that's where it would go to, you know, first 2 individual town meetings. And then, like, if one voted to pass it, or, you know, if it did not pass at both towns, then it would be a joint town meeting, where, I'm not gonna lie, like, if Acton was voting for it and Boxborough was voting against it, they hold the higher percentage. However,
No assessment on voting?
So wait a sec, what if both reject, so it goes to town meeting, and what if it doesn't pass at both town meetings, then what?
if it doesn't pass at both town meetings, it would then go back to the district to propose a new budget and essentially rinse, repeat.
Yep.
You know, and I will tell you though, so the thing is, and part of the reason that I said, you know, prepare for between, you know, 10 and 13% for FY27 is because we are in the process of trying to figure out how to make things more lean. And unfortunately, you know, it just with the way that things work in terms of the municipalities and, you know, the school districts, or just the education department, things are on such a lag that any change that we could make would not be effective for FY27. Like any potential savings that we could get, it wouldn't be able to happen that fast. We've already gotten some, so we just met with the consultant and we got a whole bunch of feedback from the community. We got feedback from the, you know, teachers and everything. And our plan is to have our strategic plan language set at the end of September, and then be able to review that in October to be able to bring potential changes forward for December. You know, so we are really acting as fast as governmentally possible, to try and get, like, how can we be leaner, you know, and propose some changes. which may be no changes at all. Maybe we're already as lean as we can get and we're just up a river. But I'm really hopeful that there are things we can do to try and make this district more affordable for our communities.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're looking for, also what's the longer term plan? I mean, understanding it may be X amount next year, but what's it going to be the year after that and the year after that? Because, we again can't sort of continue to sustain a very high growth rate with the school budget. Yeah,
and the school committee knows that. Like, we are not looking to, have it be that high. But just that being said, I was like, I just want to make sure that we're being realistic about next year, because even though we're looking ahead to the future to like, how can we be, there's nothing that we would be able to change. And like, here's hoping that the state would fund us at the level that they have in the past. But with the current administration, we just can't count on that. We can only count on the limited amount that we've been getting so far.
Right. Okay.
Can I ask Liz a question?
Yeah.
My understanding
Always.
is, are you guys going forward with the MSBA process for the Conant School? Because I understand that the school is looking to rebuild Conant and is starting the process with MSBA. Is that true?
That is not an initiative that we have discussed as a committee or started talking about. And actually, even the capital improvement subcommittee hasn't had their first meeting yet.
Okay, thanks.
So while that may be something that's rumored, that's not an initiative that is definite that we're going ahead with.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll discuss more next meeting, the model.
Yeah.
And are you doing a PowerPoint for this?
No, wasn't going to. No, I think. I mean, I had the PowerPoint put together, but we all agreed it was really pointless to go through what our budget is and what our issues are and that sort of stuff. It doesn't really add to the discussion. I mean, I think the model is the central part of our position. Is what are the drivers of our situation, and how do those levers, how does moving those levers change the outcome?
Yeah, I think we asked about what the agenda would be for this meeting, and I don't think we've kind of any clarity on that. So, well,
No.
I might be putting it strongly, but I think a little more clarity on the agenda would be a good idea.
I agree. And so we're not doing like a joint PowerPoint with the select board, like a Boxborough point of view? Okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I can check in with Kristen and see what she's thinking before next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so the other topic under organisation is the calendar. So I did have a go at putting together.
It was totally my bad, but I came here last Tuesday. Because originally it was on the calendar that and I didn't update it. So I have now updated based on this calendar. Thank you, Tony.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Are you seeing that? Oh yeah, we are. Yeah. Okay, so firstly, we have a meeting scheduled for next week, which I presume we do not want to have. Unless someone really wants to come next week for another meeting.
Unless we have something to discuss, I don't think so.
I think it just got left there because we moved this meeting due to the voting situation. So we'll cancel next week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we got October the 7th. And then we've got the 21st, but there was some discussion about cancelling that one as well. Because we have this tri-board meeting on the 22nd.
And the week before, we have special town meeting.
Yeah. Quick question on that special town meeting. Is that Tuesday just a placeholder?
No, it's Tuesday.
It's Monday
gonna
and Tuesday?
be- We're going to start with Article 1.
Well,
and then-
it's Monday and Tuesday, right?
No,
It's not
Monday's
Monday.
Columbus Day. So it's
Or sorry,
Tuesday,
Wednesday. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's not a placeholder.
So is the 14th a Tuesday or a Monday?
The 14th is a Tuesday.
It's
Okay.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so we should plan on both nights, I
Yes.
guess. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
because we're starting with Article 1, hopefully getting through all of the zoning articles, Article 1 through 5 or whatever, or 1 through 4 that
Okay.
have to do with fire station. And then the second night, this was the discussion last night at the select board. The second night at 7 o'clock, they're gonna start with the MBTA stations.
So shall I cancel the 21st then, as we're all
I
meeting
would
down?
love that, because we have a meeting the next night, the joint meeting the
Yeah.
next night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's too early to
Okay.
be coming every week to a
Yeah.
FinCom meeting.
Yeah,
Yep.
it would just mean we have one meeting before both the town meeting and that tri-board meeting, so anything we want to align about, we'll have to do that one meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that there's gonna be much to do about town meeting though, right?
Yeah, we just
It's
voted.
not like, none of that stuff is money stuff,
No, no.
so.
Then we have,
Okay, so we're canceling the 21st.
just cancelled. Then we have 2 meetings in November. We have 2 in December.
And a potential town meeting in
And-
December.
Tentative town meeting in December. And then we have Budget Saturday on the 3rd of January.
I have a different date for town meeting, but you might be right.
Sorry, the one on November 4th, that's election day. We're okay having it later on that day. That won't be a problem.
No, because I don't think there is,
It's not a major election.
it's not,
I think.
we
Yeah.
don't have anyone running, like, I know Boston will have an election, but we won't.
Yeah, okay,
So-
just double checking.
And if it was, we could just do.
Just go
more
over there.
Suburb,
Yeah, thank you.
Do you think the dates for the town meeting are different from what you
I
have?
do, but it doesn't matter, I could be wrong
Yeah.
on this date, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with yours because I assume it came from
Well, we
higher
can
power.
check- Yeah, yeah. So then I've got meetings every week from Budget Saturday onwards.
Yep.
We have Capital Saturday, this February the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
We have meetings going through, and then I've just made some of them optional as we sort of get the budget put together.
Yeah, because generally, we don't really have a meeting every week in April. We're
No,
usually done
we
by
don't.
then.
We don't. Yeah. So that's what we have for calendar right now. Okay.
Are you gonna post a meeting for before town meeting, just in case we really,
I guess I ought to do that. Yeah.
just in case, and get a room, ask Kelly for a room.
Yeah. Okay. And the other thing on organisational thing is I have signed up for this Association of Town something or other,
Finance
finance
Association of
committees or
Finance
something
Committees, yeah.
on October the something 17th maybe 18th.
So that's Village Day in town.
I'm going to miss Village Day.
You're gonna miss Village Day. I can't make it because I have tickets to go into Boston that
Yeah.
early afternoon for a concert, so.
John, are you going to go to that?
I'm gonna try to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've involved. They
That's
have a
actually, it looks like it would be, you
Saturday.
know,
well, there's a session
like
on
the
Procter and-
override stuff. I mean, I
there's-
wish I
yes,
could
the
go for
process of
that
that.
override process,
yeah.
So,
Do
18.
you have to sign,
Saturday.
you signed up already?
I've signed up already. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just had an invoice to town, so
Oh, there's a cost to it?
it's $65 or something.
Oh, okay.
But we have a budget for that,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
professional development.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So-
I do wish I could go, because the override process would be interesting to refresh. It's been a lot of
Yeah.
years since we've done an override in
Well,
town.
they got some people from towns talking who've had successful or unsuccessful overrides, so it'd be good to get some experience from people on that. Okay, so that's organisation. Committee reports. John Grieven.
I don't have anything just yet at this time. Sustainability is Thursday, and I need to catch up with Les, and water resources is next week. So more to come in the next meeting.
Okay, Joe.
I also will be catching up with Les next week. Tuesday, I'm meeting with Les for the Affordable Housing Trust, and he's also going to have Al Murphy from the Housing Board come, so a little powwow, get up to speed on that, sworn in. And then Steel Farm Committee, it's CPC article stuff, so I don't know if it really matters to us, but they identified that their CPC article for phase 3 of the renovations is going to be due to roll back. And they had to take a vote whether or not to release those funds or not. They voted to keep them, so if there's any expectation of what those funds, they're going to be voting to keep them for further renovations. They're pretty much done, but they discussed how they could use them for other things related to the article, and they're keeping it on hand just in case. So
How much is it, do you know?
it was like under 5,000.
Oh, so it's short money.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah.
$100,000.
I think
Okay.
so. Please don't quote me on that, but it
Yeah,
sounded.
but it's fairly short money.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got
Maria,
nothing.
anything-
You got my,
You
my
got-
fire
we've had it all,
station.
yeah.
I'm all about the fire station these days.
Yeah, John.
So, school committee, actually, before I mention the consultant, there's the capital, committee. Do you want that still to be me for the school?
If
or-
you could, yeah.
Okay. Or maybe you occasionally.
Sorry, what was this? No, I heard you say school committee, but,
The capital meeting?
Oh.
It's, yeah, don't worry about it. I will.
okay,
The school capital.
Yeah, school
Yeah,
capital,
yeah.
excuse me.
thank you, sorry, that's what I was.
So, yeah, so the consultant presented his initial findings. So where they are, three big phases to the project is, the first is the analyzing the data, which is what they've been doing all summer, collecting it. Now they're trying to analyze it, and then they want to craft a strategic plan for how we go forward. They want to iterate that a few times with the public, and then their final delivery, I guess, is going to be, I think what he phrased, generate reorganization scenarios and get some feedback on that. You know, so I was looking, when we met with him, we were pretty clear in what our perspective was and what we were, actually, is Liz still on?
No, she had to pop off. She
Oh.
apologizes.
Okay. I would like to get her take on this, but it just, you know, we were, you know, look, we've got constraints, this narrowing window, and, you know, your window seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. How do we deal with this? The numbers aren't adding up. And I got the impression from him, and I thought our meeting went as well as could be expected. He seemed to be on top of it. But the whole presentation, it's about at least 50, 60 pages long. It's everything we know already. You know, it's nothing, no earth-shattering information. And so when I was listening and I went through the whole thing and I was asking what slide, take a guess out of a presentation, what slide number our constraints came in.
How many pages was?
Let's say it's 60.
59?
59, yeah.
Okay. So
close?
maybe I missed it, but I saw the first reference to fiscal constraints, maybe that's the way to put it, financial constraints, on slide 44. Okay, 44 is my estimation. So actually, yeah, definitely, if you're going to go to a slide, go to 44. And I was disappointed in that because originally there was like, our changing landscape is one dimension, you know, like the additional need for special needs or yeah,
Special ed.
special ed, thank
Yeah.
you.
Kind of burying the lead.
What's that?
It's burying the lead.
Deep.
Yeah, so it was special ed, and then there was kind of like changing demographics, and then I thought the third one was going to be the narrowing, or you know, our fiscal. Am I putting you to sleep already?
No, I'm sorry.
Is our our winnowing resources. But that third window was not that. It was in how efficient they are already. So that I was reading that whole thing the wrong way. I was reading it not what our limitations were, but it was how well they've done already.
But that's
And I don't
what
want to
happened last year.
I don't want to take anything away from them, because from a cost per pupil perspective, they do very well. But that third part of the triumvirate or whatever was completely different. And so I'm waiting and waiting and waiting and looking through the presentation. So my first mention of this is really what you guys need to factor into this equation is not mentioned until the very end. So maybe that's partly because of the audience he was speaking to. This was school committee.
But it was at a regular school committee meeting, so it was a public meeting.
It
Was
is.
it? It wasn't, okay.
But it's a school committee meeting.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's mostly school committee members. And obviously that's a very specific audience. It's going to be a little bit different focus than us. So that was my takeaway.
Well, they're consultants who, yeah, they're looking at the customer, right?
They're going to tell you what time.
Tell you what you want. Tell you what you want to hear. Yeah.
And that's what we heard from the consultant last year as well.
Yeah, I had more hope after our meeting. I don't think you don't seem to be as positive about that meeting as I was, I guess. I don't know. I mean, what can you do? What can you do for him?
Yeah.
But he's done this before.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. At least they've done it before with other towns. I was hoping that they would better bring some other ideas into the mix to say, well, here's a way you could restructure. We've done this before in other towns, and it gives you X, Y, and Z.
And in theory, that's part 3, or
Right.
really part 2 and right?
Yeah, that would be the benefit of having a consultant, right? Who sort of
Right. Who has the data
can
and the
look
experience.
outside the box and say, here's a different way of thinking about this.
And here's what's worked in the past.
Yeah.
For similar like school systems.
Yeah.
And here's what's failed and why.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get to that. But in terms of having cost be a driver for this, I mean,
It's not.
Yeah.
And that's what frustrates me.
Isn't that what the driver is?
It should be. It's what.
Because that's what I ran into with the elementary school thing
Right.
last year. And I mean, I was a little more green when I was on. I mean, I'd been to like 2 FinCom meetings, but I know you were kind of like counseling me, like, look for that. And
yeah, I mean.
seems like we're running into the same thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to-
No, I just said it seems like we're running into the same thing again.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a cost control, cost containment perspective. That is, and I guess you cannot say that word in front of that audience. Excuse me for being master of the obvious here, but.
And the problem is, it's not like they're going into negotiations this year.
Exactly.
Right, so.
Oh, with the teachers union?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it used to be all 3 unions, so I'm not sure if it is, or 4, they have 4 unions. The teachers union's the biggest one, and then they have the smaller
So like
custodial.
custodial?
AFME was one of them, and then there was the professional, the paraprofessionals, I think, had
Okay.
a union.
What's the third one?
And then,
Coaches
I
or
want to
something?
say the administrative assistants had one. Now, I don't know that that's changed, so I think there was 4. I don't, and I think they used to be I remember like negotiating with the AFSCME people and the teachers union at the same time. So I feel like there's 4 unions, but obviously the biggest union is the
driver,
teachers
yeah.
union, and that's really the budget driver.
So I was curious if Liz, she mentions 10 to 15%. Is the union driving that? Is that?
I don't
where
know.
did
So
you
that
come
is
up
a
with
good
that number?
question, is that, because so in the past, the way we did it is, we never put the contract money into the budget, because part of it is you don't want to give away your hand. Like if you budget 3%, you don't want to give that away.
Right.
So frankly, we used to bury it in the budget. The budget was big enough that no one noticed. And so we would have $200,000-300,000 buried in the budget. And that, my friends, is why I am very suspicious of any of the budget numbers, because I know where the bodies were buried in some of those. But, so that's a concern though. So you're not feeling great about this?
Not from that presentation. I mean, you guys should take a look at it. It's,
Okay.
I mean, you'll see all the data sets, and it's not talking about, it's talking about needs, it's talking about how the demographics have changed, and this is all
It's the
making
same conversation we've been
yeah,
having.
it's making it more difficult. We have more, English as a first language students, all understood. At the same time, where's the other side of this?
This stuff costs money, and it's
Right.
got to come from somewhere.
We
Yeah.
hear you, but
Yeah.
that's kind of the mantra that I've only been on this for a year, but you know, seems like they definitely hear us out, and then, but
we still want
we've
everything.
tried our hardest to, or there's some reason
Yeah.
why that's, there's no more to do.
That's-
We'll look into it, but there yet to be a
That's why-
revelation.
That's why I really think we should be aware of these pathways, if it
Okay.
really.
It's frustrating. I do have a question, Tony. They are in negotiations, so I want to make sure, and this is really, Mike's not in the meeting anymore, maybe you could bring it to him, and Gary's going to correct me if I'm incorrect. Normally, when the teacher unions are in negotiations, the town manager and the town administrator from Boxborough, town manager from Acton, are included in the executive sessions. And because we get a vote, right, Gary? We vote on the final contract. A representative from the town.
I think it actually says town manager
Or
town
administrator, yeah.
And
So
unfortunately, previous town administrators have passed.
they pass the buck
I don't want to do
to,
it.
yeah, to the Acton town manager. I don't think we should do that, but the school committee is also not great about contacting the town administrator and saying we're in negotiations.
Right.
So the last, I think, Mike, when he maybe first came, or it was Ryan, they called the morning of and said, we have an executive session to ratify the contract tonight, we want you to come. I know this happened with Ryan, and Ryan's like, I'm not. And I was on select board, and he's like, I'm not going to vote on this. I don't know anything about it. So we need to be kept in that loop. And that way we also get a voice at the table at in the executive session when they come back and say, you know, we're looking to do X in a percentage. Maybe then there can be a voice that says, hey, wait a minute, that's a number that's way too high, kind of. So,
Okay.
but that should be the town administrator that goes to those
Yeah.
and is in
I'll
touch.
take them in mind. Okay. Anything else? Capital Committee?
We met last night, didn't talk about the capital plan, but just voted on the articles, really.
Okay.
I actually do have one more thing on one of my committees on the planning board. I think we should get on the rotation. When they get a site plan in, they send it out to all the different committees to comment on it. And I think we should start getting on that. Alex should send us that so that we can look at the projects that are in town, and we don't necessarily need to make a recommendation or make comments, but as it applies, you know, maybe on tax revenue or something. And a good example is that Camp Benelli, Beaverbrook, has been trying to get a site plan approved for months, and they're in site plan review, and it has been a very long process to the point where I'm going to make a personal statement, not as a member of the FinCom, at the next meeting, because they're one of our biggest taxpayers. And so we've been a little bit out of the loop as FinCom, but I think FinCom needs to get in that loop. Because we all need to be working, all the boards need to be working towards, we have a financial issue coming up, and the planning board's job is to make sure it's done properly, and the site plan is done properly, but we also need to figure out, they need to try to get to yes.
Yeah.
That protects the town, and we, you know, I think we need to be aware of what's going on.
It's like one of the main things we can do.
That's the only thing we can do, is offset
we're
some of our taxes.
Talking about all these other ways where there's nothing we can do, we're kind of beholden to that, all these increases, we can develop, you know.
We can redevelop. You don't even have, this is already existing, right? It's just, the Cisco permits expired, so they came back and said, okay, we want to redo this in this way. The infrastructure's already been laid, everything's already been done for what was Cisco. So I just think it's important that we're in this and we realize 1414 wants to develop the back 100. They came forward with a site plan, it was rejected. I don't know what's going to happen there, but there's all this commercial development that we really need to be, and maybe at some point we do decide we want to make a comment or a recommendation to the planning board if they're in the middle of site review and we're thinking this is a good plan, a good project.
It might impact our growth rate in terms of the override capacity that we have.
Right? So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
we would need
that's
to bring that visibility to, like, because obviously I think everyone on every other board knows if we don't do this, we have less money, but like, we're the ones with all the knowledge of this is what's actually going to happen if you don't do that.
Right, so we have to bring it together, and that's what BLF is supposed to do, and I think it's going to do it more because it's becoming, you know, we've got to get some of this commercial stuff done.
It's becoming an acute issue,
No, it's good to know.
That's
Thanks,
now,
Maria. Yeah, it's good to know.
Okay, anything else, anybody?
Nope.
I mean, I can just give a quick update.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Michelle.
No, it's okay. The EDC actually voted in favor of preparing a letter of support for the park at Beaverbrook development, and that was estimated for like that 1.4 million in annual tax revenue. So that's a positive. So the committees are rallying against that or around that project rather. For sure. And also just the CPC has booted back up after it seems like a couple months of hiatus. So lots of discussion around the current financial plans, and I think a few upcoming to keep our eye on, but nothing concrete yet. I'm actually meeting up with John for some Historical Society conversation on Sunday and hope to pick his brain on any further details that we might have glossed over in the meeting. It was pretty brief.
Great, thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
So the vote is, do we adjourn? Michelle?
Yes.
Kashaba, are you still on?
No.
No, it's on. John?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Maria?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Tony, yes. Meeting is hereby closed.
Yay.
9:04, we're slipping.
You think we're slipping?